Welcome to part one of the calm trading methodology. You've covered a lot so far. Congratulations, you're doing great. So let's get into it. Next thing we're going to talk about the calm trading methodology. There's three key components to the calm trading methodology. This is information and a framework that I've taken from reading book after book after book about coaching, about performance, about being better, performing at a very high level. You have to know the technical skills of what it is that you're doing. You have to know how you as an individual perform, and then you have to have a higher purpose. And we'll go through each of these steps. So the first part of that is knowing your strategy. Knowing your strategy. And this is one where I think a lot of people get, they put all of their eggs in this basket. And it makes sense, right? Because we think about trading as like a really technical skill, like Fibonacci sequences or moving averages, about supply and demand, about higher time frames, different indicators, different tickers, different instruments, different markets, different exchanges, on and on and on and on and on. There's an infinite number of ways to trade. Infinite number of ways to trade when we think about all the different indicators there are and all the different strategies there are. There are as many different successful trading strategies as there are traders. Think about that. No two traders are ever going to trade the same. No two skiers are the same. No two golfers are the same. No two eye doctors are the same. No two salespeople are the same. No two individuals are the same. No two traders are the same. So you have to know your strategy. Now, of course, you have to start with a framework and be taught the basics. Let me just go through an example of what it means to know your strategy. Okay, I'm going to go through one of my strategies. Okay, so this will talk about, and this is what I'm going to focus a lot on, is this trigger candle, entry candle kind of strategy that I'll look for during regular market hours. This is all developed from how I used to trade SPY options. Okay, notice the disclaimer I put down here at the bottom, and this is no joke. Okay, this strategy is based upon analysis of thousands of trades and hundreds of hours of study by a trader that is not you. Traders should never attempt to trade real money using another trader's strategies unless they've spent sufficient time learning that strategy in a practice environment and are confident that they have developed a level of consistency and understanding of the method. Any other trader that attempts to trade strategies of another trader should not expect similar results. Every trader must develop strategies, rules, guidelines that are based upon their own analysis, their own trading style, their own mindset, and many other factors that are too numerous to name here. Okay, that's my legal disclaimer. You'll hear me say it over and over again, but it's really important. It's not meant to protect me. It's really meant to protect you guys, and to illustrate to you the importance of knowing your strategy. So I'm not going to teach you this strategy right now, but I'm going to go through this strategy and tell you how I got to each of these things, right? So first of all, I have a description for the strategy. When I'm scalping NQ futures, I'm just trying to capture a fraction of a price movement, either rejecting or breaking through a well-defined support level, resistance level, or a supply or demand zone, or structure, right? This could also say, or some sort of structure, breaking out of a channel, reversing a trend. My trade entry requirements: I look for a new high or low 1 minute candle that has price action of at least 14 points and is beyond the last 5 minute candles wicks and has over 1400 in volume. How do I know it's 14 and not 18 and not 10? Because I've spent hundreds of hours studying thousands of trades. How do I know it's beyond the last 5 candles and not the last 3 or the last 10? And it has over 1400 in volume instead of 2000 in volume or 800 in volume or even 1550 in volume? Because I've analyzed thousands of trades, spent hundreds of hours going through this, building this strategy. And it's never perfect. It's never static. It's dynamic. You are never in a static environment when you're trading. Ever. It's not like, oh, I'm going to learn how to do this and then I can retire. Nope. You're going to constantly be learning. It's like if you play the saxophone, constantly practicing. Okay. I'm going to beat that horse till it's dead. Okay. Um, next, entry candle. I look for an entry candle in the next 1 or 2 minutes. That's, got continued momentum. It's got increasing volume. I like to trade with the trend. My stop loss rules 15 to 30 ticks. That's a pretty wide range, right? Depending on the volatility. Sometimes on NQ, I might let something go 70 or 80 ticks because there's a price level that means more to me than the number of ticks. 8 ticks past the last price level, that depends, right? It could be 20 ticks past the last price level. Depends on the volatility of the day. But for 90% of my trades, these are my stop losses, and these are the rules for 90% of the trades. It's the framework under which I trade the strategy. Take profit targets and trade exit requirements, right? I'm looking for 10 to 20 ticks. This is a really telling point here when I talk about knowing my strategy, knowing your strategy. Every month, without fail, I download the hundreds and hundreds of trades that I've taken, and I do analysis on them. I look at what time of day was I trading, what size trade was I taking, how long was I holding the trades, what was my profitability, what was my loss. I look at all of that data and I analyze it month after month after month after month after month to better inform how do I trade. One thing that has never changed with my scalping strategy, this goes back to when I was scalping SPY options, 90% of my profitable trades, I hold them for 30 to 90 seconds. 90% of them, I've held them for 30 to 90 seconds. So if I'm not profitable after 2 minutes, if that trade's still moving sideways, why would I hang on to it? Sure, it might be ready to take off and be a really profitable trade, but that's not my strategy. I look to capture a fraction of a significant price movement, rejecting or breaking, yada, 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 because I'm a scalper. This is my strategy. This is how I trade. So my take profit target, 1 to 3 minute hold on the trades. Notice the sentence that I skipped in the previous box. Close the trade if not profitable in the 3 to 5 minute time frame. There are times when I will hold a trade for 5 minutes. I think I did it once last week. The last time I held a trade for longer than 3 minutes, I can't remember. 90% of the trades that I hold longer than 4 minutes, 90% of those trades that I hold longer than that are losing trades, right? They're losing trades. This is a good indication as to why or how I know my strategy and the amount of work that it takes, constant effort that it takes to know your strategy. Knowing your strategy is like knowing sheet music for a piece that you're going to play, whether it's on piano or saxophone. One of the famous, most widely recognized pianists of our time, I forget his name, but my therapist was telling me about him. He's like, and he was interviewed by Dan Rather, I think it was, and Dan Rather said, what makes you so much, he's like, there's so many amazing concert pianists, but what is it about your playing that separates you from everybody else? And he said, it's the sound between the notes. It's the pauses. And we could take that another step to think about like, well, what's he doing when he's not playing as well? It's the pause between the notes. You think about a golfer. When we think about how long it actually takes to hit a golf ball, a pro golfer is doing a lot in between the notes. They're thinking about the wind. They're thinking about the competition, maybe. They're thinking about nutrition. They're thinking about hydration. They're thinking about who knows, right? While they're on the course, not to mention the stuff they do in between tournaments. Traders should operate no differently As traders, we should operate no differently than a professional athlete, a professional musician, a professional anything. You have to constantly work at your craft. You have to put in the hundreds of hours analyzing thousands of trades and hundreds of days of 1 minute charts or 5 minute charts or whatever it is that you trade from in order to get to that point where you're saying, okay, now I truly understand what I'm looking for in a trade. In this deck, and I'm going to share this deck with everybody after this. Okay, in this deck, you'll see that on this page, it's a blank template. You don't have to use this PowerPoint slide, right? Just you could put it in a Word document or something. This is going to be some of the homework. There's this and a couple of other things that I'm going to ask you guys to really put some effort into it. It doesn't have to be like in the next 48 hours, but if you want to get better at trading, if you want to get better at anything, you better start putting it down on paper and measuring yourself and coming up with rules for yourself by yourself. I can teach you the method by which I taught myself, but I can't teach you how to, you have to teach yourself how to do these things. You have to learn by doing. There's a famous line in the movie Good Will Hunting with Robin Williams and Matt Damon. And Matt Damon is this savant, and he just has like a photographic memory for everything he's ever read. And then one point in the movie, in the film, Matt Damon, he just drives a knife into Robin Williams about how Robin Williams has stopped living his life because his wife died and he can't get over it. Just really vicious thing that he says. And Robin Williams, who's the psychiatrist in the movie, he says to him, he goes, you're a really smart fucking kid. He's like, but you know what you don't know? You don't know love. You may know what the Sistine Chapel looks like, but you don't know what it smells like. You don't know what life is. Just because you read something in a book doesn't mean you know a damn thing. You have to experience the process of building your strategy. If you don't build your own strategy and spend the hundreds of hours constantly working on it, you'll never have the confidence to be disciplined and follow the strategy. Okay, that's the crux of the biscuit. For every high performance athlete, performer, trader, you have to be able to stand by every single thing that you put in your strategy. And you have to know why. You have to understand it. So this is going to be the end of part 1 of the comp trading methodology, where we talked about knowing your strategy. In part 2, we're going to talk about knowing your conditions for trading.